Hello, everyone. Welcome
Hi.
to Beach World tonight. I'm Lexus Chen. Thank you so much for joining tonight's sharing. Before starting tonight's sharing, may I ask you some questions? Okay, the first one. Do you want the cell of your body, which is 5 to 20 years younger? Second, do you want to seem 5 to 10 years younger than your actual age? The third, do you want your liver, your blood, and colon to be clean and healthy? Fourth, do you want to have a strong immune system right now? And last one, do you want to have an ideal weight for your body? I believe you want them all. But in modern lifestyle, you need to deal with a lot of problems. For example, the first one, safety of food, such as toxic chemical. The second, environment pollution, such as air pollution, water pollution, and soil pollution. And the third, bad habit, smoking, alcohol consumption, overeating. That's all the bad habits. And also, you will face stress, your work, your family, relationship, and money. And last one, you may be about your lifestyle. Some of you may be lack of sleep and exercise. So if you continue in this manner, you might get premature aging, and it will cause disease, lower down your energy level, and damage your immune system and your body health. So it's very important for you to know more about your body energy and the immune system. So in the current time, especially during the COVID pandemic, how to keep your body in high energy level and with a strong immune system is very important. Now let's invite an expert from Australia who have more than 30 years experience of anti-aging researching. And this gentleman is also a member of Beast World Smart Lab panel. He is Dr. Fernando Cortizo. Hello, Dr. Fernando.
Oh, hi everyone. Hi, Mr. Chen. How are you today?
Yeah, great. Thank you so much, Dr. Fernando. It's our great honor to invite you to have sharing tonight for the energy and immune system. So during Dr. Fernando's sharing, if our audience get any question, please leave the message on YouTube. Then we will pick some of the question and share to Dr. Fernando. Dr. Fernando will give you the answer after his sharing. We have the question and answer session. So if anyone get question, please leave the message here. Okay, so Dr. Fernando, we cannot wait anymore. Please start your sharing about the energy and immune system.
Hello, everyone. Yep. Nice to hear from you today, and also welcome everyone that decided to join us. Is something which is in fact very exciting to talk about, particularly because it affects all of us consistently every day of our lives. Now, over the last few weeks, we have been talking about the concept of aging, and we have been trying to identify the very causes of aging. And we found through research that there are three basic reasons why people actually age. And I think you probably, if you've been following us, you probably remember them. The first one, the first cause of aging is the loss of detoxification. And in detoxification, which we covered last week, by the way, so I encourage you to join us or to review the video in YouTube from last week, because it has some very telling and very important information for your future. So the first cause was detoxification. Today we're going to do the second cause, which is the loss of energy and the relationship with immunity as well. And the third topic, the third major cause of aging is the loss of muscle mass, which we'll be covering, I believe, if everything goes well, by next Monday. So today we're going to talk about vitality. We're going to talk about what is the concept of vitality? What does it really mean? Now, I have for you today quite a few pieces of information, and also I'm going to share with you a number of elements, materials, graphics, and certain presentation material, which is actually it's going to help you a lot. Now, I want to do it in a very simple way. I don't want to complicate the presentation with all the details, all the scientific and medical details, but I want to give you an overview. So why is vitality important? Why does it really matter? Now, it matters because simply we know vitality is essentially, in essence, our ability to be able to perform our functions on an everyday life. In other words, do we want to be a normal person, to be able to go upstairs, go downstairs, run after the cat, or run after someone, or run to the door to open the door without having a heart attack, or without, in fact, losing the energy to do it? So vitality is extremely important because it actually allows us to perform our everyday functions with our family, with our children, with our pets, with our friends at work, and so on. So as we lose vitality, which is the fundamental observation with aging, is a consistent loss of vitality, which is reflected in many different ways. Now, the causes of the loss of vitality are in fact very much driven by one factor, and that is the loss of energy and everything that flows from the loss of energy. So as you lose the capacity to create energy, the fuel to make your body function properly, you will lose the capacity to do everyday things, everyday tasks. You will lose the capacity to repair, and you will lose the capacity to have what we call an eventful free lifestyle, a quality lifestyle. So vitality is extremely important for that regard. Now, a very interesting question people ask me often, and I'm going to share this material with you. If there are any problems, please let me know. If you cannot see it or you have difficulty. So often people ask me this very same question. Now I'm sharing this, I hope you can see it. This is basically a graph that indicates, after many years of research, in fact, indicates what happens, in fact, to people as they become older. And now, in terms of physical activity level, so you can start roughly at the time when you're about 6 to 9 months, so the time you can walk, and you will see that this particular graph shows you that as it develops and as it happens for men and women the same. So when we are in a very young age, and I'm talking here around possibly 1 to 2 years of age, is when we become fully mobile. You can actually walk and you can do things. You can play around, you can jump, and so on. So the level of physical activity, we normally call it 1.4 to 1.5, which is essentially an index of how much activity you can actually perform. Now, as you get older, towards the 15 to 20s, both men and women begin to develop an increased level of physical activity. You develop muscle mass, you actually exercise more, you become more proficient at doing different things. So you see here that when you're around this level, you attain what we will call the maximum amount of physical activity index, which is in fact a very important index. And you're looking at around 17 years of age, 16, 17, 18 years of age. Now, this level of activity will persist consistently throughout your life for the following years until something happens. And I always call this the very critical time for men and women. You know, and I always joke about this, and I say that until I was 50 years old, and I remember, truly I remember, when I was 50 years old, until I was 50 years old, I was Superman. I can go to bed late, I can do anything, I could do any exercise, any intensity, any sports, do anything that was necessary. But after I turned 50, something specific happened. And I began to sense very dramatically the loss of vitality, the loss of physical activity power. For men, is very clear physically when you look at their ability to perform physical activity. For women, it's connected to the very concept and the very event of menopause. And then both those events happen differently to men and women, but happen around the same time. So we are somewhat programmed that at this time, when you're around 52, to begin to lose our physical level of activity extremely rapid. And you see this happening in a very accelerated manner, okay? A very accelerated manner towards the end of your life. So as you approach 75, you have almost going back to the level of physical activity that you had when you were a newborn, when you were 1 or 2 years old. So this is why we see often old people, they actually act physically and mentally like children, right? So there's a regression in many respects from the development of the body and the mind. And then around that age here, now this is not going to happen to me, of course, or it's going to happen to you, but it happens to the majority of people. Their level of physical activity resembles very much that of a teenager when you're around 75 plus. A young boy. I didn't mean teenager, as a young boy. So you'll see that as you progressively get older, their level of physical activity begins to decline. So let me tell you, it's extremely important that you understand that the moment you lose your level of physical activity after 50 years of age is when you will determine when are you going to die, right? When that time comes, you will determine that. So the longer you remain physically active, the longer you exercise and you engage in good practices, good food, good supplementation, and good exercise, you will actually postpone this decline. Now, some people, in fact, can actually die of natural causes at around 100, possibly 110, 120, and still retain a very significant level of physical activity. Now, that can happen. I have seen that happen. I've seen it with people that exercise regularly, that actually retain that. So this is extremely important. So there you go. There you see why vitality matters, because as you get older, you lose all that that level of activity that you had with you. So what else actually happens? And this is very interesting because often when we get this question, and the question is, well, what is it about that process and how does it impact us physically? Now, what do we see in a physical sense? And I'm going to share another slide with you, which essentially is actually telling you what happens and then what actually triggers that downtrend towards lack of physical activity. What we see physically in our bodies at that moment? What is it that we find that takes place when the decline of physical activity is taking place, right? And then here you have a very specific graph, very simple, and it shows you there's two parameters. The y-axis here, it says your changes in mass. In other words, how much weight have you put on since you were around 20, okay? This is very important. When you look at that, how much weight have you put on, for example, how much mass you put on since you were 20. And then you see, here is your age. So this is 20 here in the bottom, and it's moving forward up to about 100. Now I'm eventually, I'm tempted to start extending the 100 to 120 because I intend to live to 120. And then many people that are alive today will actually reach 120 years of age if they follow the right direction, the right path. So here you see is, look at the body, for example. The black line shows you the effect of aging in terms of the body mass. So you see a progressive increase from the time when you're 20, you see a progressive increase so that you add at the peak of that process at around when you are 60 or 70, here you are 70 years of age, you see the black line here, you actually added almost 12, 13, 14 kilograms to your body. Okay, and this is what we normally see. People ask me this question: why is it that as I get older, I cannot control my weight? And this is in fact part of the problem. As we progress into old age, we will lose the capacity to control our weight, and then we will see this reflected as an increase in body mass. Okay, so when you look at, when you look at what happens with the fat, now that increase in body weight is mostly due, unless you're a gym, physical body trainer, bodybuilder, a serious bodybuilder, the majority of that increase in the body mass happens because of fat. So you see the red line, as it mirrors the increase in body weight. So in fact, what we can say is that the fat will increase even until that point, will remain high until about 100 years of age or longer, inevitably. So you can change that. You can actually do something to modify, but this is what would happen in normal situation, normal circumstances when you have an ordinary lifestyle, okay? So most of the body's increase is in fact fat tissue. That's what we're saying. And what happens to the fat-free lean muscle mass. This is your muscle mass. And so as you get after 20, we've achieved maximum muscle mass. So this is why it's so important for people that actually are young to exercise before the age of 20, to lay out the memory for muscle development, maximum amount of muscle mass, which will you can later on in life bring back to a normal level, to a higher level. Nevertheless, you can always develop your muscle mass no matter how old you are, no matter how much exercise you've done when you're young. So there you have your fat-free muscle lean mass increasing until you're about 50 years of age. So you're going to add another 2 or 3 extra kilograms. You see here, right? 2 or 3 extra kilograms of your body weight caused by an increase in muscle mass. But as you pass 50 years of age, you will see a constant decline in the muscle mass. Okay? So until we actually lose that, as we get to say 80, we're going below 0. We begin to lose the muscle mass that we developed originally, and we call that sarcopenia. So this is extremely important that you understand that the change that leads to the loss of vitality is in fact an increase in body mass, an increase in fat tissue, and a decrease in muscle mass. Okay? Now, the other important thing is, of course, that the question always arises as to why. So what is the connection with the relationship between energy and other functions in the body? Now, remember this, that the production of energy is in fact tied up, very closely related to a number of functions, and one of them is immunity. Now, I want to show you this because this is essentially what actually happens in reality is that, and you will see that in our next graph, and you will see that as a very important concept. Now, most of the energy in the body is actually produced in the form of what we call ATP. And I will explain to you what ATP is in a minute. But ATP is your fuel. It's produced by your cells, and it drives all your physical activities. It drives chemical functions in the body. It drives biochemical functions. It drives the nerve function in the body, your memory. It drives absolutely everything. So this ATP molecule is produced, and it has to be produced steadily in our life, so that we can actually have sufficient energy to perform the activities that we have to perform to stay alive, and to stay alive with quality. So there you are. This is your ATP concentration in the body production, and this is your age. And then you can see again, after the years of 10 years of age, essentially, after 10 years of age, you are producing a very significant amount of ATP, but you begin to see a consistent decline that goes on and on and on and on until the time where you get close to 100 years of age, where you have actually lost almost 75 to 80% of your ATP production. And remember, this is the molecule, in fact, the molecule that will drive every function in the body, is the molecule that will allow you to stay alive with quality. And you can see, as you see here, this decline in ATP is one of the fundamental reasons why we actually, number one, we age. Number two, we lose functionality, we lose vitality, and we lose our capacity to remember things. We lose youth, and more importantly, we lose our immunity as well. So remember that in this day and age, when we are so concerned about the various pandemics that we are facing, the various issues with COVID-19 and other coming viruses, that immunity is in fact one of the areas in our bodies and one of the functions that gets affected the most by this loss of ATP. So just remember, the loss of ATP happens because we age, and then it mirrors our loss of vitality, and is in fact connected to our process of immunity. So often people ask me this very important question. So what is the connection between the production of energy and immunity? Is there any relationship? Okay. Now, is it truth that as we get older, we lose immunity? And the truth is, in fact, that yes, It is very much like that. And it sort of follows, I want to show another slide, is to show you that, in fact, what you see with aging is that as you get older, the percentage losses of functionality very much mirror this graph, where you see as you are 10 to 20 years old, you're actually, in fact, at the maximum of your function. And as you get older, you lose part of the functionality, muscle mass, you lose power, you lose hormones, you lose vitality, you lose memory, and you also lose immunity. So the loss of immunity happens because of aging much the same way. Just remember that the people who are most affected by a pandemic or a new virus, or even the old viruses like the flu, are in fact people who are about 80 years of age, which is the reason for that is because at that time you are very frail. The immune system is not longer what it used to be. You have lost your muscle mass, you have lost your youth, you have lost your capacity to fight back by losing your immune system. Now, I want to tell you basically what happens in fact. How is it that there is a relationship between energy levels and immunity? And then often people ask me this question. It's a complex question, but I'm going to try to answer you in a very clear way so that you have no ambiguity and you understand it properly. So what is the connection between energy and I want to tell you how this happens. I'm just going to try to share with you this drawing that I made. Well, I didn't really make it, but I helped to perfect it. So what you see here is, in fact, what you see here is what we call the mitochondria. Now, the mitochondria is an element that exists inside your cells. Every cell in the body should contain a certain amount of mitochondria. And in this mitochondria is like the powerhouse. It's in fact the energy house, which actually makes all the ATP that is necessary. So what do we use? We use oxygen and nutrition. So oxygen and nutrition are the two very important elements that we use in order to generate energy in the mitochondria. So the mitochondria is like a factory. It takes oxygen and other nutrients, and nutrition is very important. It's internalized inside the mitochondria, which is like an organelle, like a little factory, if you want. And then inside the mitochondria, we have production of energy in the form of ATP. So ATP is the key molecule, the key element that has to be produced in order for us to have sufficient energy to function and to continue living properly. So this ATP is then broken down in a number of ways, and we see the creation of ADP and AMP together. Now, these are byproducts of ATP. So once you use the ATP, it's like a match. You turn the match on, and then you're left with a burnout match, right? So ATP has a lot of energy in it to phosphorus bonds, so chemical bonds that carry a lot of energy. And then when it is used, you produce ADP, which is adenosine diphosphate, or you produce AMP, which is adenosine monophosphate. So you got ATP triphosphate, ADP diphosphate, and AMP monophosphate. So this is how, in fact, you create the energy. So what's the connection with the immune system? Let me tell you. Often people don't know this because it's very recent research, and I can show you a little bit of the research so that you understand how it's happening. But what we normally see is that ATP is in fact used as an energy source by the cells, by the body, by the muscle, especially the skeletal muscle, the muscles in your legs, the muscles in your arms, and it uses ATP to make the muscle work. As you use the ATP, you produce ADP. So this is called adenosine triphosphate. T is for tri, for three. 1, 2, 3. Tri, right? Diphosphate is 2, and monophosphate is 1. So ATP is used up, gets converted to ADP, and some of the enzymes that are isolated part of the human cell will produce AMP. At the same time, the same enzymes will actually produce adenosine. And adenosine is, in fact, one of the most important byproducts that we have in the body after the production of energy is, we call it ADO, or adenosine. Now, this ADO is very important. Let me tell you why. Okay, so let me answer your question. So what's the relationship between energy and immunity? It's very simple. There's a very fine-tuned process in there, so that if you look at the ratio of adenosine, you remember adenosine, right? So this is the one that, sorry, I will do it, I'll show you again. Adenosine is produced by the breakdown of ATP, ADP, and AMP. So that's adenosine. So when we look at the ratio of adenosine versus ATP, if this ratio goes down, which means that ATP is in fact higher. When ATP is higher, this ratio will drop. We have what we call good immunity. So now we know that ATP is very important to stimulate T cells, dendritic cells, immune cells. So there's a whole family of immune cells which get activated by the presence of ATP. Okay. Now, in order to control, you remember this, that immunity has to be controlled, because if you have too much immunity, you have what we call an excessive inflammatory response, and you could have what we call an allergy. So normally allergies are immunity processes that are out of control, okay? So if this ratio is not maintained properly, then the ATP must remain high in order for us to have good immunity. Now, what happens when you break down the ATP? Remember, ATP is broken down to produce a lot of ADO, or adenosine. If this ratio increases, it means that there is less ATP and more ADO. We have what we call low immunity. So between ATP and ADO, the relationship between these two molecules determine how effective your immune system is, and it determines how the immune system operates. It also determines if you're going to develop essentially an allergy. By having, in fact, excessive production of ATP and no production of ADO, you can have a situation where you have a very excessive immune response. And this is why it's so important to have the right nutrition, so that these ratios remain in a clear format, in a clear form, and then you don't develop allergies, but you develop good, consistent immunity. Okay? So remember this, these two ratios are very important. ATP is critical together with ADO, or adenosine, in controlling immunity. And if you're interested in actually looking at what is available, there's thousands and thousands of papers in the marketplace. There's a lot of things that you can look at, and I can actually just show very quickly some of the research that has been done. Now, some of this research is actually showing essentially what I'm telling you now, which is that this, that, for example, that mitochondria, as you can see here, is at the crossroads of immunity and inflammatory tissue damage. In other words, that mitochondria, with the production of ATP, are at the crossroads of immunity and inflammatory disease. So mitochondria with ATP decide whether your immune response is a good immune response or whether you're going to develop inflammatory tissue damage. This is being published recently in the last few years, but we go all the way back almost 30 years in this research. I'm going to try to find one more that I had for you here, which essentially shows you what happens when, how important immunity is, in fact, into this process of immunity control. So immunity control is very critical, right? Now, you see this paper here was published in Frontiers in Immunology, a very important paper. I will share with you very quickly so you can see it. If you're interested in getting these papers, all these references we can provide you. But Frontiers in Immunity was actually published recently around 2020, 2021, and it tells you essentially that ATP, okay, ATP, and its metabolite adenosine, that is ADO, okay, are in fact regulators of immune cell activity, okay? So the latest finding that we have is that of course, that ATP and his byproducts, like adenosine, are in fact regulating immune activity consistently. And I remember how critical this is, because what we are saying here is that as we get older, we lose all of our, we lose all of our energy production, we lose our ATP. And as we lose our ATP, we also lose our ability to stimulate the immune system, okay? So that's the connection between energy and immunity. It's a very important connection. So how important is immunity? It's extremely important because, as you know, immunity is like what keeps you disease-free. It protects you from bacteria, from viruses like COVID-19. It protects you from parasites. It protects you also from fungus. It protects you from diseases, especially internal mistakes in the body system leading to the cause of cancer. So it actually protects you during the formation of cancer consistently. Our immune system is working around the clock consistently to control diseases and to keep us on a healthy level to fight disease. In fact, if you think about how much fighting occurs by the immune system, it's really incredible, it's remarkable, but it happens consistently and continuously. So we have this issue that immunity becomes such an important issue, and also we have chronic diseases related to immunity. So any immune system that is out of control, any immune system that loses the capacity to produce ATP, and also to control the actions of ATP by producing ADO or adenosine, will effectively put you in a situation where you can develop chronic diseases, autoimmunity diseases. Allergies are very common these days because we know that we have entered in a time and place in a world where we have no control over what's happening, no control in the food that we take, no control in nutrition, especially the food that we eat. It lacks the nutrition, it lacks the purity that we need. So the immune system becomes very critical, but it has to be regulated properly. Otherwise, not only will it protect you, but it will also cause infections, cause allergies and autoimmunity with chronic diseases. Now, often people ask me, what do I take to control my immune system? And let me tell you, there's a lot of products in the market that are based on herbs, which have very little demonstrated ability to help, very little proof, in fact. And often people use other things in the market, like they have little bottles of energy drinks, which actually they drink them, and they drink amino acids to create energy, but that's only temporary. In fact, it's not a really safe process because often these drinks, these energy drinks, they produce other issues apart from giving you a short-term boost of energy. So be very careful with them. Okay, they tend to be expensive as well, and a lot of people become very, very addicted to that. I'm not sure why the addiction, but the addiction is because they feel that they don't have the energy, and so they have to continue taking these things. So the best way to control your immunity is to control your energy production is in fact by doing what we are going to talk about in a minute, right? Is to treat the root causes of vitality loss. So remember this. Immunity is connected to energy production. Energy production goes down, immunity goes down. So what is the best way to handle this? Is in fact to look at the root cause of the loss of vitality, okay? So if we look at the root cause, of what is actually presenting this problem to us, why are we losing energy? Then we can actually find the right answer. Now, for example, I have to tell you that the most effective way, okay, to treat the root cause of the vitality loss is to provide the body with the right nutrients. So you need to have a certain combination of nutrients. You have to have a certain amount of purity of those ingredients. You have to have a certain amount of antioxidants. You need to have a certain amount of fiber in them to be able to provide the right environment for the optimal energy production. Okay, we know that there are three major causes of aging, and one of them is, in fact, cleanup or the increase in toxicity as we get older. We talk about the three R's as nutria, which is our system to be able to handle the loss of nutrition, which actually causes the loss of energy production in our immune cells and our bodies as well. And we talked about lean up as the loss of muscle mass, which is associated with a compromised immunity, infections, and loss of vitality and activity. Now, for that, to be able to deal with the three root causes of aging, which actually impact on our energy and impact on our immunity, we actually talk often about, we try to present to you the iSolution program, which consists of two particular products that were designed to handle these three R's, to handle the root causes of aging, the root causes that lead to the loss of vitality, and the root causes that lead to our loss of muscle mass and impairment in dealing with toxicity. So the first one is the dietary fruit juice, which is a fantastic product. It has a design, a unique design, which is geared to present what we call the 3C detoxification concept, which is the cleansing of the blood, colon, and the liver. So the dietary fruit juice, in fact, provides the ability, the mechanism to cleanse the blood, colon, and the liver. It has high fiber content, which actually we know it supports the growth, the development of good bacteria. So the fibers act very much like a supportive form of probiotic. And then it enhances the good bacteria in the gastrointestinal system, and it leads to proper gastrointestinal function, improving detoxification, improving energy production, and in fact, helping in the development of muscle mass. We also have the concept of supporting nutrition by the dietary milkshake. This product is actually designed to supply a broader spectrum of nutrients. It should be used as a meal replacement. It will promote new immune cells. It will promote immunity, and it will promote the development of new immune cells, what we call immune cell proliferation. The product contains high value of good quality proteins, okay, which are very important, as you know, when you're trying to develop muscle mass, when you try to develop a stronger body, you need a good supply of amino acid and proteins. And then, so that milkshake contains a very interesting and very effective level of valuable proteins, which will help you with that. It will help you to boost your resting metabolism. So it will allow you to increase the amount of energy you are producing, and also increase the metabolic activity, which will lead to higher immunity as well. So not only will it help you with your muscle mass, but it will also increase your metabolic rate. It will increase the production of energy and the burning of calories, and it will help you supporting your immunity as well. So I really highly recommend it. Often it's difficult, to be honest with you, this is difficult to talk about how to handle the aging process, but we know that the aging process, in fact, is essentially underlined by three major factors, which is the increase in toxicity, the loss of energy and immunity, and the loss of muscle mass. I highly recommend the iSolution program if you use it properly, if you use it effectively with a good dietary program or a good eating plan with good food and a good exercise program. You will find that this combination of products through the iSolution program will be very effective in helping you to see very clear results in your fight against aging. You will see clear improvement in the anti-aging process. You will see your body reverting back to what it used to be and what we have lost due to the effects of aging. Okay, thank you for your time. Do we have any questions?
Thank you, Dr. Fernando, for all this information and for your sharing. Thank you so much. So I think now our audience already know the root cause of aging and vitality decrease. So, and ISO is the answer for your immune system. So I saw all our audience from different countries and region to join our sharing. Thank you so much. And I saw Indonesia, Cambodia, and Africa. And you already left a lot of questions here. So I will pick some of the question and to ask Dr. Fernando. Okay, let me see the first question. Oh, okay. I think some of our audience is joined in the middle, in the half of our sharing. So Dr. Fernando, can you repeat again? How does aging affect immune health? Yeah, I think some of our audience missed this part.
Okay, yeah, it's not an easy concept. I totally understand this. And then often, you know, we have to talk about this for a long time, and we have to talk about this between ourselves, you know, with professionals as well, for a long time. And the concept is not easy concept. It's like this. So how does aging and immunity are linked together? Now, we know that as you get older, you lose immunity, right? That's the observation. Now, the question is, how does that happen? And I'll tell you that what we know now, perhaps in the future, we will know a lot more, but what we know now, okay, is that as you age, as you get older, you lose the capacity to produce energy, okay? So remember this, as we get older, you know we lose energy, right? Everybody knows this because you already experience it, even if you're 25, 30, 35, 40, or you are well above 60 like me. I'm not going to say how old I am because I'm too old for this. But, you know, we know that as we get older, we lose energy. And so as you lose the energy, you lose what we call ATP. So that's the energy molecule. That's your fuel. That's the fuel of your car, which is not longer being available to you. Now, that fuel, that ATP, regulates your immune system. Is the one molecule which will activate your immune system, okay? So when your ATP is high, let's say that your ATP is going really high, your immune system will follow that. But unfortunately, as you get older, ATP declines consistently. I showed you the graphs before. As the ATP declines, so does your immunity. Now, the mechanism is very complicated internally, so it'll go beyond our scope. But if you're interested, send me a link, send me a question, and I definitely will send you some more information you can read, you can follow through, right? And then in your time, you need time to absorb all these things. But try to study it, you know, make sure that you understand the concept, but don't become. I don't want to be a scientist. Also, I just want to be a speaker, right? So I want to talk about what I know in a simple way so that it's clear, so I can pass it on to other people, right? If I tell you, if I start to talk to you about the chemical reaction and so on, you have to be a chemist, a biologist, or a biochemist to understand all these things. But what I encourage you to do is find out the details, but then use the details to convey a very simple message, which is aging causes loss of immune function through the lack of energy.
Okay, thank you, Fernando. So this is a very complicated topic, but just remember Dr. Fernando sharing aging. Yeah, so aging causes the affect the immune system health. Okay, so the second question, let me check. Okay, so what kind of food should we eat to maintain a healthy immune system? What kind of food?
Well, that's a very important question, very, very good question, but very difficult to answer as well. Not because it's difficult for us to understand, but because it's so difficult for us to get right food, right? You know, I come from Australia, and even in Australia, I can tell you that the majority of the food that you find in the supermarket is in fact processed food. And then you have lots of fresh vegetables and a lot of meat. But unfortunately, you know, this is industrialized food. The vegetables are grown with chemicals. So over the years, I went really heavily onto organic. You know, we were the first ones to develop organic farming in Australia many, many years ago. And also I went to Malaysia and I set up an organic program there. We've done a lot of very interesting work on organic material. So my advice to you is you get the right food, but it has to have the vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, the proteins, the nutrition to support the immune system, okay? So what is the best food? Not processed food. Anything that comes in a box, don't touch it. Seriously. Now, everything that comes in a box or a can, don't touch it. And the rest had to be clear food, like grandmother used to cook. You know, you remember? Think about your grandmother, your great grandmother. They used to do everything from scratch. They used to make butter for themselves. The milk, it was not pasteurized, it was simple, straight from the cow. So any food that you can make, which is from very basic ingredients, and actually is produced without using chemicals and without using the different additives and so on, it will be very important to you. Simple food, vegetables, meat, and small amount of fruit. Don't eat too many fruits, because fruit often has a significant impact in sugar index. So you will find that, and I tell this to people all the time, if you are pre-diabetic or you are overweight or you are diabetic, don't touch fruit. Just use fruit as a treat. Occasionally, you can use it once a month, once every week. Now I know, because I grew up, you know, in Australia, everybody eats fruit like it is, you know, constantly, 3 times a day, right? So don't do that, especially if you have an issue with weight or high sugar levels or pre-diabetes. Fruit only as a treat, but do use normal natural food that is prepared basically, not pre-packed, not prefabricated. Have to be fresh food. Okay.
Okay, thank you, doctor. So another question. Oh, okay. So this question is about ISO product. Okay. So when should the people stop to use ISO product after they start the program? So when they should stop, or they can continue to use it?
Well, if you can stop aging, I'll say you stop tomorrow, right? So if you're able to control aging, so why do we take ISO products? We don't take ISO products because you think that I do a nice presentation, or because you like me, or you like Mr. Chen, or you like Baswell. You need ISO products because we are all aging, and some of us are aging faster than others, right? Really. So my question always is, and I get this question all the time, when should I stop taking my supplement? I would tell them, if you think you can control aging effectively, and that you can have the right nutrition in your body by taking the food from the supermarket, which is impossible, then you don't need supplements. But until then, let me tell you, we live in a polluted, complicated world that's getting worse and worse and more challenging to our health and our body. So my answer to you is that as long as you want to control aging, you want to increase your stamina, you want to improve your body, to physically and mentally improve your body, you need to continue taking it. And then it's not going to cause you any harm. It's very much like a dietary process. You're taking the supplement, which is actually helping you on your everyday life. So often I get this question also from people say, hey, you know, why do I need these supplements? And I tell them it's because you, like me, you're getting old, you're losing your capacity to move around, you cannot walk, you cannot run, right? You get up late, you sleep all day, you don't have any energy, so you need this. So as long as you need it, you should take it. And we know that you can take it consistently for a long time because we don't expect and we don't see any side effects. Like you don't see any side effects by eating normal food, okay? You will not see side effects by taking products that are properly designed and have good quality components.
Okay, so it's great if you want to start anti-aging, then you start to take the ISO earlier, okay? And in case you need it, just keep continue to consume this product. Okay,
Correct.
so it's amazing. Yeah, and not only for you but also for your family. Okay.
Correct. But we're all,
Okay.
Mr. Chan, we are all aging consistently. So
Mm,
unfortunately, let me tell you, the anti-aging steps that we have to take to stay young and to delay the final conclusion is to work on it every day by nutrition,
okay.
exercise, and supplements. Is inevitable. I'm telling you, in my opinion, is we have to continue, right?
Okay, great. So everybody remember, continue to take the ISO. Okay, so let's see the next question. Okay, is the ISO dietary milkshake safe for those who suffer from lactose intolerance? Hmm.
For that, well, lactose intolerance normally happens, it develops because we are using prefabricated, pre-processed dietary products which have lost their enzymes and their probiotic and prebiotic activity. So the reason why we develop lactose intolerance is because the dairy products that we use, the milk that we drink every day, does not longer contains the enzymes that it normally has. So believe me what I'm telling you, when I was a young boy, we used to drink milk. I don't suggest you do that, but we, in those days, we had no other option. We took milk directly from the cow, right? And then this milk has with it the lactase enzyme, which actually digests the lactose. So we never suffer from lactose intolerance. But of course, as you drink milk, it's totally processed. And my advice is don't drink skim milk. I have a lot of evidence to show you. If you are interested one day, you need to take full cream milk, because the full cream milk is the one that has the probiotics and the prebiotics and the enzymes which could potentially eliminate lactose. So if you are lactose intolerant, be careful, of course. It is not recommended because you're going to suffer the consequences. You're going to get, possibly you're going to get diarrhea. ISO products contain some proteins that come from milk protein, right? And wheat protein, which is actually from milk. So it is possible that you will develop that, but it's fundamentally caused by the presence of lactose. Now, if lactose is there, it's likely to and you are lactose intolerant, it's likely to cause some issues for you. So you need to be careful. I would say to you, just be careful. You can use a small amount and test it. I found myself that if I use prebiotics, which is in fact products with fiber, which create the good bacteria in the intestinal system, I will not suffer these type of consequences. But it's something that you have to be aware of. It is recommended that you're careful and not use it if you are lactose intolerant. But if you want to try it, you can always try this carefully, right?
Okay, so okay, thank you so much. I saw a lot of question comes. Okay, Dr. Fernando, do you mind to answer
No.
4 more questions?
No, it's okay. I've got time until 12 midnight, so it's okay. We're all right.
Okay. Let's see the next question. Okay, so the next question is that people who is in diabetic,
yes,
can use ISO to control the body weight.
Right. So if you're diabetic, okay, so why are you diabetic? It's because you have developed, essentially you have developed insulin intolerance. You have developed insulin insensitivity. So you are producing a lot of insulin, but it's not active anymore. So one of the ways to control diabetes is by controlling the fat tissue, which is accumulating around your waist. So if you look at the person that is diabetic, you will normally you will see that the person is overweight. So can you use a solution to help you to lose the weight? Absolutely, 100%. If you follow the iSolution program, what you will see is 2 things. One is that it has low glycemic index, so it's ideal for diabetics. We are always looking for products that have a very low sugar response. iSolution program has is a rating for a very low glycemic index. So it's ideal for people who are diabetics. Can it help you to lose weight? yes, it will help you to lose weight, but you have to control some elements in your life. Remember this, there is no magic cure for being overweight. One of the things you have to do is to eat less, because the reason why you have weight is because you have a sedentary lifestyle, you eat more than you should, and you don't exercise enough. And then the food that you eat has very high glycemic index. So you have to correct that. So use the ISO solution program in its entirety, which is designed, number one, to provide you with the fruit juice extract, which is in fact going to help you with detoxification. It will provide a lot of fibers. The fibers will reduce the sugar that gets into the body normally. It will help you to lower your blood sugar. And we have seen the research done already. Fiber reducing the blood sugar in diabetics. There's a lot of published results, a lot of published data on that regard. The milkshake will help you to control the food that you take, to provide you with a low glycemic index, good quality protein, and to help you to lose the weight and increase muscle mass. So yes, absolutely. The answer is, if you are diabetic, you need to lose weight, use the isolation program. But you also have to control what you eat. So you have to control the number of calories that you eat every day. You have to exercise as well. So my advice is follow the isolation program to the letter for 2-3 months, and I will guarantee you, you come back to me and tell me if it didn't work for you or not, right? Because diabetics will benefit from weight loss. They will benefit from low glycemic index products like our solution program. They will benefit because they will have a much greater or a better functioning gastrointestinal system. They have good quality fiber, which is actually ensuring that you don't absorb the sugar in your food. So it bypasses the body and goes into the feces, right? So all around, I always wanted to talk about this topic, in fact, but we have so many things to talk about, but definitely is something that will help. It will be a great assistant. Yes.
Okay, Dr. Fernando, and also the isolation is gluten-free, right? So it's also important, right?
Yeah, sure. I mean, gluten, that's correct. So this gluten is not included. It's actually low gluten, which is very important for those who suffer from gluten intolerance. And often I remember seeing people who tell me in the US that they were gluten intolerant, and they actually put a lot of weight, especially around the legs, right? And they find it very difficult to lose to lose their weight from the legs and the abdomen, and they found that gluten in food was one of the major causes of that problem for them. So yes, absolutely, gluten-free is essential for in this day and age. It's essential for those who have, and I believe that the number can be around the 20 to 25% of the population would have some form of sensitivity to gluten, right? Yes.
Okay, so Doctor, another question. Okay.
Yes.
Iso meal and iso juice. Okay, which one is the key to increase the ATP?
Iso meal or iso juice?
Juice. Yeah.
I would say, look, both of them can help, but to increase ATP, I would say to you that I would focus on the dietary fruit juice, right? I would focus on the fruit juice and the milkshake. Both of them will help me to increase energy production, increase ATP. Isomu, that will provide some benefits, but I will focus more on the other two, right? That would be my choice. That would be my choice. Yes. Yeah, that would be my choice. Yes.
So the juice and the meal is the golden formula which benefits to your body. So just take
correct
isolation programs. Yeah,
that's right.
The key
correct
and important for your body.
Yes.
Okay.
So Mr.
The last
Chen,
question.
Yeah, just want to tell you that what's important that people need to realize that there is not a single product that can solve all the problems. But what is unique of our program is that the program, as if you use it together in its entirety, it will bring about more benefits than if you use just a single product for a purpose, right? So I would say, what if I take the dietary fruit juice? Yes, it will provide me with the elements, the fiber, the antioxidants, the nutrition, pomegranate extract, all the interesting things that will help me to increase ATP, but I need to exercise also, right? So I have to assist the process by following the program, okay?
Okay. So the last question, okay, doctor. So this is an real case on the message. Okay. So one of the friend is a cancer survivor, is allergic to sweet things. Yeah, sweet foods. So can take isho.
So tell me again about who the person is. The person has what problem?
It's a cancer survivor. Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
Cancer survivor.
So now it's free now.
Okay, listen,
Yeah.
we don't provide medical advice, okay? So I'm only going to talk to you about the science of the product. So we don't provide medical advice. We are not in the business of providing medical advice, right? Now, remember that aging is not a medical condition, okay? So when we talk about controlling aging and anti-aging, we're not talking about medicine. We're talking about controlling the functions of the body in itself so that we can have the best outcome. So we are not providing you with medical advice. Now, any patient, cancer patients or diabetics or any other patient, if they have allergy to sweet things, okay, normally I have seen people who are allergic to sweet products, you know, sweet drinks, sweet fruits I've seen. And often what I find that this is particularly caused not by sugar, because sugar doesn't cause allergies, okay? So sugar does not cause allergies, but it's something else in that product which can actually cause the allergy. You understand what I'm saying, right? So it's not necessarily the sugar. It's not because it's sweet. If you take a sweet product and it gives you allergy, most likely it's not the sugar, but it's something in that product that you take. It could be you know, a fruit juice of some sort. Maybe you're allergic to mango juice. Maybe you're allergic to. So the best way to do things is to be to try it out. And I would say that for this particular person that you're mentioning, it had, you know, health issues before, and has come out of it, survived his issues, and is doing well. So I would say just try it out. I cannot imagine, and I haven't seen anyone taking iSolution program and indicating that they have some form of allergy, right? At this moment, I'm not saying it's not going to happen, because, you know, anyone can develop allergies against anything, depending on the circumstances. You can become allergic to, as you get older, you could become allergic to things that you never thought about. But I personally have not seen anyone developing allergies by using, for example, the dietary fruit juice or the milkshake, right? So I would advise a person that just this is a product that you need to test it, see what happens. And if you find that you don't get the same response that you had before with other you know, other sweet things, you probably find that this is good. And remember, this is a low glycemic index, so it has a natural sweetener, not sugar, okay? And you might find a completely different response. So the best way to do it is to try it, right?
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Fernando. I think because the time limit, so we cannot answer all the questions, but no problem. We will mark down all the questions we do not yet answer, and we will also send to our product department and Dr. Fernando, and they will help to answer and also share back to our branches. So if you have any question we still not yet answer, then just contact our branches, and then we will give you the answers soon. Okay, thank you, Dr. Fernando.
Thank you
for the question and answer. Thank you so much. So I think all of you already know it's really important for anti-aging, and also you need to take the ISO. Why? Because iSolution is the product and the solution which benefits to your body vitality and helps to boost up your immune system. Also help for anti-aging, detoxification, as we shared last week, and also the weight control. Yeah, from Dr. Fernando's answer. So it's really good for you and also for your family. Okay, so we have the 14 days program, maintenance program, and detoxification programs. If you want to try the ISO product, please contact our branches for more information. Okay, so right now I will show you some important message. It's about our promotion in this October. It's the anniversary of Beast World. So we are going to prepare a lot of surprise for you. Okay, so the first one is about the iSolution promotion package. Okay, please wait. I'm going to share you some surprising information. Okay, so everybody can see on the screen, this is the iSolution program promotion package. So starting from today, we will have 14 days iSolution package. So if you buy 2 boxes of ISO meal and 2 boxes of ISO juice, you get 2 boxes of ISO juice for free. Okay. And second, we have the 28 days package. If you buy 4 boxes of ISO meal and 4 boxes of ISO juice, you get 2 boxes of ISO juice and 1 box of ISO meal for free. Okay, okay. Some of you feedback you cannot see this poster, right? Let me share you again. Okay, now this is the promotion information, okay? We have the 14 days package as I share, okay? 28 days package as I share, and also we have 56 days package. Okay, if you buy 8 boxes of ISO meal and 8 boxes of ISO juice, you get 2 boxes of ISO meal, 2 boxes of ISO juice, and 2 boxes of Alpha Meta sachet for free. So just take this opportunity to enjoy more. This is the biggest sales of Beast World anniversary in this October. So just take this opportunity and to try. Okay. So this is the first surprise we prepare for you. And the second is we have the iSolution challenge. Okay, so the challenge is very easy. You just need to take the video about your healthy life and you are taking ISO product and post to the social media. Then you get opportunity to win the free Beast World product. Okay, and also we have more rewards on this challenge. Okay, just join now. The first round of iSolution challenge, we have 5 days counting down. So the first one, the finish date will be 15 October. So pay more attention and also keep sharing your video to the social media and share this video to your loved one. Okay, so this is the round one. And starting from 16 October, we will start the second round. And the last day of the second round will be 15 November. Okay, just remember and take this opportunity to share more and also to earn more. Okay, so this is the iSolution challenge for Southeast Asia and also for Northeast Asia and Africa. Okay, thank you so much, and get ready for that. Try the ISO product. And also, thank you so much, Dr. Fernando, for today's sharing. Really amazing. And also, thank you for taking your time to answer our question, because all of our audience is very excited and have a lot of questions want to know. So thank you so much for that. And also, remember, follow Beast World to know more about our product and the company. Okay, and also thank you so much to join tonight for all of our audience, no matter from Southeast Asia, Northeast Asia, Oceania, North America, South America, and also for Europe and Africa. Thank you so much, and waiting to see you on next Monday's sharing, we will also invite Dr. Fernando to share you some more information. It's about weight management. Okay, so thank you so much again. Take care and goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.